not only on your police department, how we structure crime trends and things and challenges that we have throughout the community, as well as the community events and programs that we do throughout the year. So what we'll do is go through the agenda. Once I'm finished with my presentation, I will turn it over to the esteemed guest that I have here. We have our City Councilwoman at Large, Wanda Rogers. And we also are joined by our Honorable State's Attorney, Tara Jackson. So we jump right in, and we got a lot that we want to get to this evening. All right, so can I ask staff, obviously, I'm Chief Preston, just a little bit about me. For those who don't know, I've been a law enforcement for 35 years. I started my career with Prince George's County Police Department in 1990. Retired from there at the end of 2011 as Deputy Chief Bureau of Administration. Joined Bowie Police Department in January 2012 as Deputy Chief, and have been serving as the Chief since December of 2023. With me, also have Deputy Chief Robert Liberati, who also retired as a major from Prince George's County Police Department. So I'm honored to have him to serve, as the Deputy Chief. In the back there, I have Captain Robert Stevenson. So I also have Lieutenant John Knott. He's also an old retired guy from Prince George's County. I have Lieutenant Sean Swartz, one of our patrol supervisors in the back, and she could not be here this evening, but Lieutenant Anika Howard, she's a little bit under the weather, so she could not join us. And our other patrol lieutenant is Lieutenant Sam Hernandez. Also, my staff this evening, I have Sergeant John McMaster, who is supervisor of our community services unit, and somewhere running around here is Corporal Janet Dollar, as well as Mr. Andre Jones, who's our public information specialist. So appreciate all my staff for coordinating this event. And next slide, please. So jump into some of the statistics. We had a very successful year in terms of cases that were assigned to our investigators. And our investigative section is commanded by Lieutenant John Lott. And we have a lot of property crime cases in the city. We're fortunate that we don't have a lot of violent crime, and we're trying to keep it that way. But in the cases that had solvability factors and were assigned, we actually had an 82.17% closure rate, which is outstanding. All right? So we will continue to work those cases and work with our state's attorney's office, to get those cases prosecuted and hold people accountable for those cases. So, one of the things that I like to talk about is how we go about our approach in terms of the things that we do day in and day out and how we serve this community. It's a three-pronged approach. We utilize education, prevention, and enforcement. Education is what we're doing tonight. Education is what we do on social media, all of the literature, the posts that we make about how to protect yourselves, the crime trends that are happening throughout the community, how to protect and remove things from your vehicles if you don't become a target. All of those things tie into the education and prevention factors, and that's where you all partner with us, because we need your help. I can sit up here and tell you all day long about all the trends and all of the things that you can do to protect yourself, but if you don't actually go and do them, then really, that contributes to some of the challenges that we see. And enforcement. One of the things that I'm proud of this department is we had a severe staffing shortage a couple of years ago. We were down, we still have a severe staffing shortage, but we're in a lot better position due to a lot of the investments that the city council has authorized us to make by hiring a marketing company. We've been able to increase our staffing levels significantly. And by being able to do that, we've been able to be more proactive in terms of being able to target areas where we know crime occurs most. In the city, it's no surprise, most of our crime occurs in overnight hours when most of our residents are sleeping. All right? We know that it's the great majority of people that do not live in this community that come here to commit crimes within the city. All right? And so what we do is invest a lot of time. Deputy Chief Liberati heads up our crime meetings where we strategically place officers. We talk about crime trend. We talk about the areas where we need to be deployed and the enforcement efforts that we need to take to make Bowie a deterrent place for people to come here and victimize our residents. Obviously that's yielded some success. I know we're only 2 months into this calendar year right now. Our theft from autos, which is our biggest challenge, we're down 44% compared to last year at the same time. So we hope that trend continues. How many people here got push-to-start vehicles? How many people here, well, I'm not going to ask you that slide to you. All right. If you're leaving your key fob in your vehicle, even when you're in it, that is a no-no, okay?
No.
All right, please don't do that. We say no, but I'm gonna tell you, we've had occasions where we've had people have their vehicles stolen from the driveways, and come to find out the key fob was left in the vehicle. Criminals usually come into pretty much steal property from within your vehicle, and then they push the button and get a surprise and say, oh, thank you, and now they take your car, all right? So, even one of the things I say, these are the same tips I get to my own family, same things that I practice. I have a push-to-start vehicle, and one of the things that I tell my family, my children, my wife is, keep the fob on your person, do not keep it just in a cup holder in the vehicle, things like that. You want to keep it on you in case someone does. If you unfortunately become the victim of a crime, at least they don't have the keys as well, okay? Use a steering wheel lock. There are times I'm not sure we have any more. Do we have any steering wheel locks, Matt?
We have a few of
We have a
those.
few, okay. From time to time, we will distribute steering wheel locks to residents for free, as long as you show that you do live within the city. That is a deterrent to use a steering wheel lock. Remove valuables from your vehicles. Remove your purse, wallet, laptops, any other electronics, anything of value. That is going to attract people. And one of the biggest things I'll say, it sounds simple, is lock your car. You'll be surprised how many people leave their vehicles unlocked. There's a term that we know that some of the criminals employ called pulling. All they do is go down the street, just pulling on door handles to see which ones are unlocked. It's easy access, and once they get in, then they're going to take what's of value. And most of these crimes are occurring overnight, so most people don't know that they've been a victim of crime until they come out the next morning to go to work and find out that someone's running through their vehicle. Park in a well-lit area when possible, and if you see something, say something. One of the things that I like to talk about is staffing. So, we give a realistic view. The police department is authorized 75 officers, okay? And you say 75, that sounds like a lot. But when I start backing out the numbers, you realize it's really not that many. We have 16 vacancies. So right now, that 75 goes down to 59, all right? If you take the 7 members of the command staff off of the number, we're down to 52. All right, so you can start to see how quickly that number diminishes, actually how many officers day in and day out are actually patrolling the streets at any time. Generally, we have about 5 or 6 officers at a time patrolling the entire city of Bowie. The city is about 20 square miles, and we have just under 60,000 residents. So you can imagine it's a large area to cover. All right, we can't be everywhere at all times. But by working with you all, and you know your communities best, you can't call us too much. I say that all the time. So if you see something that does not look right, I want you to call us so that we can come out and investigate. That's the only way we're going to be able to make sure and keep you all safe, all right, in the 4 states. But you have got to call us. All right, if you don't call, it doesn't do yourself any good, doesn't do your neighbor any good to say, oh yeah, I saw a car that I never recognized before, and then you wake up the next morning and they broke into 5 cars. All right, I'd rather you call us and let us come out and investigate it. And if someone is there for a legal purpose, it's not a big deal. We'll find that out and then go on about the right way. All right. So a lot of people have ring camera systems or any kind of home security systems with video. If you capture video, we have an email address that you can send those videos to, so our investigators can follow up. And that email address is evidence@cityofbowie.org. So we ask that there are time to time that we have a crime, you may have an officer or investigator that will come knocking on doors to ask if you have any video that you could, they may have captured anything. Okay? We do offer a $50 rebate for those that live within the city for your camera system. So only thing we ask is that you be willing to share your video in the case that we have a crime in the area, okay? It's not mandatory. We don't have access to your camera system. It's none of that. We just ask that if we reach out to you for a crime that has occurred, that you would consider sharing the video and check your system if you have. How to request police services. So this is something that we get a lot of questions on. The Prince George's County Police Department, or Prince George's County, runs the public safety communications for all of Prince George's County. That facility is for the city of Bowie. So we have a non-emergency number. The distinguishing factor between the two is this: if it's an in-progress crime or something that's an emergency, that you feel threatened, I don't want you to hesitate. I want you to call 911. Okay? If it's not an in-progress crime or an emergency, I prefer that you call the non-emergency number. The reason that we say that is we want to reduce the burden for those that have true emergencies to be able to get through on 911. Everyone's seen the news articles about I call 911 and I get a recording, right? It's true, it happens. But they have the police calls, fire EMS, everything goes through 911. So medical emergencies, everything else, everyone's calling 911. The example I like to use is that if all of you all are traveling down I-95 and you see a vehicle accident, a serious vehicle accident occurs, and everyone, this Samaritan, as you all are, everyone wants to call 911 to get help there, right? So how many incidents do we have? One incident, right? But if that one incident generates 10 people calling 911 at the same time, there's 10 calls about one incident. And what happens is, there's only so many operators that can answer those calls. And what happens is that people get frustrated, you get the recording, you hang up. Now, that's what we call a 911 hang up. That dispatcher doesn't know whether you have a true emergency or not. That's now an 11th call because they're going to call you back to see if you're okay. All right? So what we want to do is divert as many calls as we can to the non-emergency numbers. That way we can leave 911 open for those that have true emergencies. All right? And as I mentioned, we are hiring. And so Bowie is the best place to work. Right? We have a variety of benefits and resources here within the city of Bowie. We do offer for experienced police officers, we offer a $20,000 signing bonus. For entry level, we offer a $15,000 signing bonus. You get a take-home car, a lot of great comprehensive health benefits, and we have good equipment here. I appreciate our city council. The officers don't lack anything, and so it's a great place. And obviously, the best part about working here in the city are the people. The people that we serve. We have a very good working relationship with our community. They respect our police department, and we respect our residents in return. So it's a great place to work. And so if you're interested in that, scan that QR code. You can go to our website. You can find out more information about it, and we would love for you to fill these 16 vacancies that we have. I believe, all right. And so I think that's all the slides I have for me. We would take questions at the end. I'm going to first introduce, and it's my pleasure to bring up our very own City of Bowie at-large Councilmember Wanda Rogers.
because of partnership. It happens because of proactive leadership, and it happens because of the professionalism and dedication of the men and women of the Bowie Police Department. Let's give them a round of applause. Our department is deeply committed to community policing. That's why we're here tonight. This means more than just responding to calls for services. It means building relationships. It means showing up at community meetings, school events, faith gatherings, and neighborhood celebrations. It means listening to residents, addressing concerns early, and working collaboratively to prevent crime before it happens. We are proud that Bowie consistently experiences lower crime rates compared to many surroundings in this jurisdiction, in our jurisdictions. This is the result of strategic policing, data-driven deployment, strong investigative work, and an unwavering focus on accountability. But just as importantly, it reflects the trust that exists between our officers and the community they serve. Public safety is strongest when it is shared. When residents report concerns, as the chief talked about, when businesses stay engaged, when law enforcement works hand in hand with our community and state partners. That's why it is especially, I'm especially honored to be here tonight with our state's attorney for Prince George's County, Tara Jackson. The role of state's attorney. The role of state's attorney is critical to maintaining safe communities. Law enforcement officers do the difficult and often dangerous work of investigating crime and making arrests. But accountability, I can't say that enough, justice and meaningful outcomes require close coordination with the prosecutor's office. When that partnership is strong, our entire community benefits. We appreciate State's Attorney Jackson's willingness to be here in Bowie this evening to share our priorities for the county. These conversations matter. They really do matter. Transparency matters. It really matters. And opportunities like tonight allow residents to better understand how different parts of our public safety systems work together. In Bowie, we just don't react to crime. We work to build a community where crime has less opportunity to take root. We know that no community is immune from challenges, but we also know that when we face those challenges together, city government, police, county partners, and residents, we are far stronger than when we operate in silos. Tonight is about partnership, it's about shared responsibility, and it's about continuing to ensure that Bowie remains a place where families feel safe, businesses can thrive, and young people can grow up with opportunity and hope. I want to thank our police department, Chief Preston, Deputy Chief Liberati, and the rest that are here for hosting this important event, and thank you all for being engaged. Engagement is so important. Please stay engaged and stay informed. I appreciate you being engaged members of our community and extend a warm welcome to our state's attorney. We look forward to hearing from you, learning more about your vision for public safety in Prince George's County, and continuing the strong partnership that keeps Bowie moving forward. Thank you all very much.
So now it's my pleasure to introduce our state's attorney for Prince George's County, Ms. Tara Jackson.
Thank you. I might see if I can take this microphone out. Can you hear me? There we go. All right. Good evening, Bowie. Good to see you all. And I see so many familiar faces in the audience, many public servants. I see a lot of public servants in this audience. Thank you, Chief, for having me. Thank you for the partnership with the State's Attorney's Office. You're so right, Councilwoman Rogers, that it takes all of us. It takes a community, all of our communities, to keep Prince George's safe. The government cannot do it alone. We have to partner with our community, because we cannot be, as the Chief said, we cannot be everywhere at every time. And so the partnerships are critical to the safety of our community. As has been said, I'm Tara Jackson, and I've been your state's attorney since June of last year. Just so that you know, I was appointed by the judges of the circuit court as interim state's attorney to serve out the remainder of the term. The law says that the judges of the circuit court appoint the interim state's attorney when there is a vacancy in the role. And there was a vacancy because now County Executive Aisha Brayboy won the special election when now Senator Alston Brooks left the county executive's office to go to Washington, D.C. So just a little bit, in case you didn't know how it is that I ended up in this role, just wanted to give you that information. But I'm so proud, so really proud and humbled and honored to be able to serve as your state's attorney. I was previously actually the acting county executive for about 6.5 months while the special election was taking place. Because the law says that the chief administrative officer has to be the acting county executive in the event of a vacancy. So Aisha Brayboy, the county executive, likes to say we switched places, because I was the acting county executive and then I came to the role of state's attorney. And prior to that, I had the privilege of being the chief administrative officer for the county, really responsible for the operations across our government, the agencies and the operations. And I had an opportunity to really work closely with law enforcement, most especially the Prince George's County Police Department when I was in that role as Chief Administrative Officer. I will say that I know Deputy Chief Liberati as well as Chief Preston from Prince George's County Police Department from my years, many years ago, when I was a line prosecutor in the state's attorney's office, prosecuting all types of cases in the community. And but I'm glad to be home. When I say home, glad to be back in the state's attorney's office. So since I've been here since June of last year, I really have tried to move around the community and hear from residents like yourselves to understand what the issues are that we're facing, what's on your hearts and minds as it relates to public safety in our community. I, of course, had some ideas, but it was important for me to hear from you. I think good leaders take more time listening than talking. And so it was important for me to hear from you, as well as hear from members of my office. I do want to take just a moment, and then I'll get back to some of the comments that I to have the members of my office introduce themselves and the role, just quickly, that they have in the state's attorney's office. Wherever I go, I like to bring members of the state's attorney's office with me, because it's important for you to see who's making the decisions in our office on a day-to-day basis. As well, it's important for them to see you, because so often in the courthouse, we see only the bad, right? And so it's important to me that our members of our office get out and see the community at work, if you will. And so, Teresa, why don't you stand up and you all can just go down the line quickly and just introduce yourselves and say what your role is.
My name is Teresa Middleton, and I'm the chief of our Victim Witness Unit in the State's Attorney's Office.
Thank you, Chief.
Corning Jarbo, Constituent Relations Officer for Office.
Hi, I'm Ellen Updike. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Special Victims Unit.
Special Victims Unit handles child abuse, sex abuse, domestic violence, homicides, yeah, related to those specific types of cases.
Hi, my name is Leon Good evening, I'm Ed Layden. I'm in special prosecutions. We do a variety of the real tough stuff, the financial crimes, the vehicular homicides, cold case homicides, and arsons. And point of privilege, if I can, I used to be the chair of the city's Economic Development Committee for most of the 16 years between 2002 and 2018, and worked very closely with the mayor and with our council members and Todd Turner, and it's just a delight to be back here facing this part of the room. So thank you very much.
Rashid.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rashid Madi. I'm the Assistant Chief of our Major Crimes Unit. We generally handle our felony cases all the way up to attempted murder.
Wow. Thank you, Rashid. I see Robert Johnson back in the back.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Johnson. I am the program coordinator for the Back on Track program. We work with first-time, nonviolent, justice-involved citizens.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Sonia Wellborn, Stakeholder Engagement and Community Affairs for the office.
Slots out in the back. Taylor Brown, Director of Communications for the State's Attorney for Prince George's County.
All right. I think everyone has introduced themselves. So again, I think it's so important for you all not just to see me, but to see the members of our office. So last year, somebody may have mentioned this, last year we know, or maybe you don't know, but crime was down across Prince George's County. Nationwide, crime was down, but in Prince George's County, I'm proud to say that we had even better numbers than we did across the nation, especially as it relates to our carjackings. And again, I know that carjackings weren't necessarily a problem for Bowie, but I think that it's important for you to understand what is happening across the county at large. 25 carjackings were down about 50-some percent, 52% I think, from 25 over 24. And then homicides were down about 40%, 2025 over 24. So we've made some progress, and I really believe that that progress has so much to do, again, with community. We have some phenomenal members, sworn law enforcement officers that are out there on our streets every day, and I want to say thank you to every one of you that are in the room. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. You saw those case closure rates. You don't see those across the country. And so, yeah, they deserve a round of applause for sure. And Prince George's County Police Department has closure rates that are very similar, especially as it relates to homicides. But we don't want to have to close any homicides, right? We want our homicide number to be zero, really, across the county. So even though we're proud of the work that we are doing, we need to do so much more. So let me just talk to you about a few of the priorities that we've identified in our office, and then if it's okay with you, Chief Preston, council member, I certainly can take any questions that the audience has. What we've noticed is, number one, violent crime. We're always going to pay attention to violent crime. Most of us, thankfully, have not been victims of violent crime. However, violent crime shapes the perception that people have of Prince George's County, which we know is extremely important. When I was a prosecutor in my 20s, when I prosecuted cases, I really only saw the victim. And it's important to see the victim and understand the work that you're doing for that individual victim. But now, having been the Chief Administrative Officer of the county, I understand how important the perception of our county is as we as we seek to attract business to our community, as we seek to retain business in our community. It is important what people think about Prince George's County. And so now this time, being back in the state's attorney's office, I have an even broader perspective and really am laser focused on making sure that that people understand that we are a safe community. We can be safer, but we are definitely a community where you can come and build your business, grow your business, and your business will thrive. So we're going to be paying attention to violent crime, and what that means to me is accountability, council member. All day long, I believe in accountability. Accountability not just for adults, but accountability for our young people. I'm going to say that again. I believe in accountability for young people. Wherever I go, people ask me, well, what are you going to do about your young people? What are you going to do about these juveniles committing crime? Well, I believe that if you don't teach children that you have to be responsible for your actions, then you will have adults that run amok. You have to teach children to be responsible for their actions. Now that means different things depending on the type of crime, for sure. If there's a school fight, you know, where maybe somebody just ends up with a black eye, then maybe it's an apology letter and a mediation conference. But if it's a carjacking, that's not enough. If it's a homicide, that's not enough. And remember, my goal is always going to be in the state's attorney's office to keep the public safe. That's my number one goal, to keep the public safe. And so, again, we believe in accountability, and I'm emphasizing that with the prosecutors that are in my office. But I'm going to also say to you, I don't like to see young people being locked up every day. I don't like it. And so what we're focused on making sure that our young people also have opportunities where appropriate. And so one of the first things that we did when I came into office in June of last year is start a truancy program, or we're trying to kick off a truancy initiative, because we know that children that are chronically absent from school tend to be children that are delinquent. And children who are delinquent tend to become involved in adult crime. So we want to do whatever we can, because we've got to hold young people accountable, but we want to do whatever we can on the front end to make sure that we can steer some of our young people in the right direction. And we also know that truancy is not always about the young person just deciding, I don't want to go to school. But sometimes it's about their circumstances, their families, issues that are going on in their homes. And so the program that we're hoping to kick off in March, and Sonia, again, raise your hand back there. Sonia is spearheading that program in partnership with the Prince George's County public school system, as well as some nonprofits in our community. The program is called RISE, and we're going to be everywhere we can. Can't be everywhere, but we're going to be everywhere we can be, trying to provide wraparound services for families and children so we can get them back into school. I'm also concerned about gun violence. One of the things I realized when I came back into office is that we just have too many guns on our streets. And oftentimes people are carrying illegal guns. Oftentimes people are carrying guns, and maybe they leave the house and they don't have the intent to use that gun, but then there's an altercation and the gun comes out, and you know there's no good that comes from that. And so we have too many repeat gun offenders in our system. In fact, just yesterday I was in Annapolis testifying around a piece of legislation that I proposed regarding repeat gun offenders. And I want to be able to, I want my prosecutors to have the option of giving enhanced penalties for repeat gun offenders. So the law does allow for that, except there was a little bit of a loophole. And I'm going to tell you what that was. If your prior crime, your prior gun offense was in another state or in Washington, D.C., under certain gun laws, we didn't have the option of saying that you were a repeat gun offender and, as a result, eligible for enhanced penalties. And why is that important? Because so many of the persons that are in our system in Prince George's County come from Washington, D.C., right? Or we're in a fluid region. Virginia, Maryland, D.C., criminals move back and forth over the line every day. And so I want to to make sure that we can take into account any record that somebody may have, especially as it relates to guns, any record from neighboring jurisdictions. So I'm hoping that our legislator will look favorably upon that legislation. And I do see my office manager back there. You didn't raise your hand. Hi, India. Office manager, how many of you know that's an important job? I talked already about youth accountability, business crimes. I'm trying to move around as much as I can to go into businesses and talk to our business owners to see what issues are plaguing them. Again, we want to do everything we can to keep good business in our communities. And so we know that Prince George's County needs a thriving business community, and we want to be a part of that in law enforcement. Accountability and data. Look, it's so important that you be able to trust us, that you be able to trust the state's attorney's office. And I believe that data is a part of that. Prosecutors make important decisions every day. Prosecutors have a lot of discretion, and they're able to make decisions, charging decisions, decisions to dismiss on a very regular basis. And most times, you all don't have any insight into how they make those decisions or what decisions are being made. So from the time I got into office, I decided that we are going to do our best not only to collect data that is relevant, but to put that data out to the community so that you understand what it is that we're doing in our office. So we just released our first data dashboard not too long ago. We've got to start small, but we started in 5 different areas. I think juvenile crime, homicides, motor vehicle manslaughter. So take a look at that. Look on our website for the data dashboard, and that will give you some information about the crimes, not just that arrests that have been made, but actual trials and guilty findings that are had in the state's attorney's office. And I'll say this too about data. What it helps me to do is lead the office, lead the prosecutors and the staff in the office, because then I can go to Ed's unit and say, look, Ed, this is what I'm seeing in your unit. Tell me what's going on. Why is it that we're dismissing more cases than we are indicted? And that's not true. But I'm just saying that, so that helps me to hold not only, I want to make sure we're holding people on the outside, let me say it again, not only holding people on the outside accountable, but holding our folks accountable on the inside as well. I think, lastly, and this is your favorite one, Ed, financial scams. I'm moving around the county as much as I can, especially to talk to our seniors around financial scams. Too many of our seniors, and really not just seniors, but even younger people, are being victimized by tech scams. What do I mean by tech scams? Those scams that come across these devices that we don't leave home without, right? These, on a day-to-day basis, I know that I receive, at least on a weekly basis, some sort of an attempt to take my money, right? And so we want to make sure that we're able to prevent crimes that happen in this area. We can't prosecute all the scams that are out here, but if we can help prevent scams, then we're going to do the very best that we can to do it. So I'm moving around the community and saying to people, look, when you see somebody asking for your money and they're saying, we need your money right now, 9 times out of 10, it's a scam. If they're saying, hey, we're from, in fact, I see somebody back there from the office of the sheriff, and there was a scam going around that says, we're from the office of the sheriff, you got an outstanding warrant because you didn't attend jury duty, right? But guess what, we can take care of it if you pay X amount of dollars, right? It's a scam. So if anybody's asking for your money, and they're saying that they want it right now, or they're saying, oh, what, give me your identifying information, right? And I can get back to you. It's a scam. So stop. And then I also tell people to confirm. What do I mean by confirm? If they're saying, well, you got a problem, you had a ticket, so your license is suspended. Well, maybe you did have a ticket, right? But maybe you didn't. So go find a number for Motor Vehicle Administration. Not the number that they send you on the text, not the number that these people give you on the email, but go find the number, the real number for Motor Vehicle Administration. administration, call motor vehicle administration and ask them, do I have a problem with my license? Go down to motor vehicle administration, do I have a problem with my license? So that you can find out for sure and your money is not being taken from you. There are hundreds of scams that are out here. And Ed could talk about them for days, and Bowie, if you ever want me to come back and have just a session on scams, we can do that because we are really, really concerned about what we're seeing as it relates to financial scams. So those are the priorities that I wanted to highlight for you. I'll say two more things and then I'll take any questions. We're concerned about reckless driving as well. On our highways, people are driving way too fast, way too fast. And we have so many fatalities that we're dealing with on a regular basis in the state's attorney's office. And it is so sad. It is so sad to see, especially parents lose their children. And it's happening. And, you know, so as much as I can as well, I'm moving around and I'm telling, especially our young people, and they're not the only ones speeding, but especially our young people, I'm saying you are not invincible, right? And speed and alcohol kill. And so you all pass that message on to. Tell the persons that you love, the young people that you love, it's not important to get there that fast, you know? So I do think it's important for you to know that on our highways, we have more of a problem than anywhere else in the state of Maryland. I think we're number one as it relates to fatalities. So I will, Chief Preston, I love working with the municipalities. We actually have meetings that are in our office on a quarterly basis where we're bringing in all of the municipalities around the county, not only the mayors and the city administrators, but the chiefs and their leadership, just so that we can talk about the issues that are not only in our county, but in our municipal jurisdictions. I see Councilmember Ivy just walked in. How are you? Good to see you. And so I'll just end by saying my goal is, again, that you trust the state's attorney's office, that you trust that we're going to be fair, that you trust that we are going to do an excellent job for you, that you trust that we are going to be responsive to you when you reach out to our office, that you trust that we're going to do our best to achieve justice in every single case that comes before us. Right now, you know, the criminal justice system is under attack. There's so much going on nationwide, and I don't have to tell you all about it. And it's so important to me to make sure that in this government, in Prince George's County, that you can trust the state's attorney's office. I don't know about U.S. attorney's offices, I don't know about anybody else around this nation, but I want you to be able to trust the Prince George's County state's attorney's office. So thank you, and I'm willing to answer any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, I'm Takesha Brown, and I live in the K section. First of all, thank you for coming. My question is, as you identify the initiatives that you're proposing or trying to implement, does your stakeholder office, engagement office, have particular points of contact as it relates to assisting to disseminate that information amongst the neighbors? For example, you mentioned a RAP program and you mentioned work with nonprofits. However, I am aware of other auxiliaries, you know, sororities or other groups that would be willing, because they have community committees, to assist in these initiatives. So how do we get that information so we can spread it amongst our community?
Absolutely, and I don't know where my director of community, there she goes, Taylor, but we have In Touch with Tara, number one,
Okay.
which is a newsletter that we put out, is it on a monthly basis, I believe, right, Taylor?
Yes.
So we put out In Touch with Tara, we can get you that information, we can get anybody that information, and we try to inform through that particular letter, we try to inform through our website, and then you can always just reach out to us. But the programs, the initiatives that we've talked about, we have promoted those to the community. So we want to make sure you get signed up so that you can receive information from the office.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Hi, my name is Bala. I'm Bala Bodapia. I live in
doesn't prosecute violators of the leaf laws. But thank you for your
I just gotta
question.
get it in, because I have to go to church, and I totally apologize for interrupting you, but I needed to get it out there before I had to leave.
No problem,
Thank you
no
for your
problem.
comments, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Did somebody over here raise, did you raise your hand?
I wouldn't be last, because I know if I go last, I'm gonna be remembered.
Okay, all right. I don't know if there's anyone else. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Amber Jameson. I'm in the case section of Bowie. And speaking of youth, is there, thank you. Are there any programs for like youth, police, like that type? I know there's an officer that sits at the middle school. I have kids in the middle school and elementary. And just from what I've seen with our middle school youth is this is just from my observations, just the lack of care about their environment and how they talk to each other and how they relate to one another. I really feel like there's a shift within our youth and I don't know if it's because they're like the COVID kids, I don't know, I've heard that coming through the system. But I just feel like there's a lack of decency with the youth and parents are busting their butts, working 2-3 jobs. So, there is the accountability on parents and absolutely. However, I do feel like there are certain situations that are out of people's control, and I do think it's a shift in our youth. And I would love to see, more emphasis on our youth. And that is the future of Bowie. And I think it is an investment. You may not get a return on it within 5-10 years, but it's an investment. And I just would like to see more of that personally.
So I'll speak from the state's attorney's office perspective, and then I'm sure the Bowie Police Department can speak from their perspective. We definitely, anytime I can be involved with youth, I'm there, right? Because again, I understand that I've got to hold people accountable, and so I want to make sure, as I said earlier, that I'm also giving them as much opportunity and feeding them as well, nurturing them as best as I can. And so we've got interns that come into our office on a regular basis so that we can expose them to the state's attorney's office. We cooperate with the court on programs that they have with high schools throughout the county. I'm in the process of trying to put together a youth council so that I can hear from young people, so that I understand. You tell me, I think I know why you're acting like that, but you tell me why it is that you or your peers are behaving in that way. So we're in the process, I think it may be scheduled already, of putting together a youth council as well, and then the truancy program that we talked about. So we've got quite a few programs, and just a week or so ago, I was at Frederick Douglass High School. Would love to go to Bowie High School. We talked about the book Just Mercy at Frederick Douglass High School, because young people, they're interested, they're very curious and want to understand the system, right, and how it operates, and whether or not we're fair or not, right? And so I want to have those real conversations with our young people. So wherever we can, we're trying to be involved with our young people, because they are our future.
Sure, and specifically as it relates to the city of Bowie, obviously the city has a very strong Boys and Girls Club for our young people to participate in, but specifically with the police department, we have a Police Explorers program that's designed for youth, and Corporal Janet Darling in the back is the coordinator for that program.
Come on up, Jen.
And so it is something that is very productive. As I mentioned earlier during the presentation, we engage with our community through a various number of community events. One of the things that has been the most successful program is actually starting, I think it's the second week of March, is our Citizens Police Academy. That's another opportunity that we'll be starting. I know we have a few of our alumni here tonight that have gone through that program. So there's a lot of different events
department. I have right now probably 20 kids. They're from Bowie High School. It's all over PG County. They get community service hours, and I'm with community service units. So every time we have community engagement, we bring them with us. So it's just a nice way to give back to their community, and they're engaged. They actually help us out with everything. So it's really a nice program. So we can talk after. Yeah. Okay.
I want to talk about the Citizens Police Academy, which is intro.
Oh, Citizens Police Academy. Yes, I have a few slots. So if you are interested to join, we have another session starting on March 10th. It's 13 weeks. I know, it sounds like it's forever, right? But no, it's a lot of information actually. So every Tuesday we have 3 different speakers. We have actually coming from the State's Attorney's Office, PG County. It's just to educate you how police department operates on a daily basis. You know, everybody's talking about transparency now. So it's a very, very good way to actually learn how your police department and getting to know your police officers as well. So it's 13 weeks, starting March 10th, and graduation is actually June 2nd. So if you're interested, the application is on the cityofbowie.org website. And you can talk to me after if you're interested.
Thank you. You know, Jan's our expert on these programs, and also Sergeant McMaster back there. Wave your hand against this. He's another good resource. We have 2 school resource officers that are full-time every day. They're at Bowie High School and Bowie Annex, and they get to know the kids, and they do a great job out there. So Bowie is very invested in youth programs.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Ms. Jackson, I just looked at the data dashboard and I'm really excited about it as a data analyst for the federal government. My question is, do you have a way to provide the community of the state of Maryland to provide feedback on the dashboard since it's new? I'm sure you have brilliant developers and data analysts that have developed these dashboards, but as we use it, is there a way that you can add the functionality on the website that we can give feedback about it?
Taylor?
We can explore that.
Okay.
I'm going to give you my business card so we can connect offline.
Perfect.
It is new. It's actually the first ever from a state's attorney's office, well, from the Prince George's County State's Attorney's Office, and so we need your feedback. So please do provide any thoughts that you have. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good evening. I am Sherry Cook. I'm in the peace section, and I'm also part of the public safety committee here. But the first time that I've ever heard about ghost guns was actually in one of our meetings. I know that has been addressed by another council member in the county. I can't remember who, but I just wanted to know how big of an issue is this, and what are we is there a way to get ahead of this, or is this just something that we can't get ahead of with these ghost guns?
Well, guns are an issue in general.
Well, yeah.
Rashid, I don't know if you want to speak to what you're seeing in major crimes. I know that's not particularly your unit. We have a gun unit, but are you seeing, and maybe the police department can tell me what they're seeing as well. I just know across the board, whether it's ghost guns or other type of guns, they're a problem across the board. So I haven't really been differentiating between the types of guns, but I know that folks are manufacturing, they're creating their own guns, which is, of course, an issue, which is why we're focused on the repeat offenders and trying to make sure that we teach them that they can't come to Prince George's County and continue to use guns. Rashid, did you have anything that you want to say about guns? Or ghost guns in particular?
Well, ghost guns, for those of you who don't know, the guns that are, they don't have any serial numbers on them at all. The problem is, it's very easy for some of our bad actors to create their own guns. And all they have to do is mail out for like a packet, they put it together themselves, and one of our officers ends up finding a gun So, but generally speaking, we are seeing a lot of gun cases. We have a whole other gun unit that does just gun cases. Usually when our unit sees guns, it's usually involved with like a robbery or a carjacking or something like that.
Thanks for sharing, Chief, did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that has been an issue for, some great amount of time as it relates to ghost guns. As was mentioned before by the state's attorney, they're untraceable. And so trying to link those to other cases. And most of these guns, have been involved in probably multiple incidents and multiple crimes. And so trying to link those things makes it challenging. And even tracking it back to the source, because as you can say, you order these things through the mail, which makes it pretty difficult for law enforcement to get a handle on these cases.
Hello, my name is Yamade House. I live in the L section. So I have a question around ICE, and we know that we are a county that is full of immigrants, and so what programs does the state's attorney have for citizens, for information around their interactions with ICE? And then for the city, we know that here in Bowie, we have had interactions with ICE, and our citizens have had interactions with ICE. So what programs are we going to have for those citizens to gain that information?
Yes, as it relates to our office, let me say this first. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about what we're seeing, not only in Prince George's County, but what we're seeing really nationwide. Thankfully, circumstances have not risen to the level that they have, for instance, in Minneapolis, but it's a problem. It's a problem, and we don't want them to rise to that level. The state's attorney's office is doing its best. In fact, we'll have some more information that comes out soon, really to let our community know that we don't cooperate with ICE enforcement. Not my job. My job is to make sure that I can keep people safe in Prince George's County. My job is to make sure that I can hold accountable, right, those criminals that the police department brings to me. And that includes having victims and witnesses that are cooperative. So why does it concerns me? Because many of our victims and witnesses, and I've got 2 victim witness coordinators here, are fearful. And they're fearful in some of our communities to cooperate with anybody that says they're law enforcement. And so when federal enforcement actions are in our community, the way that we've seen them, right, it negatively impacts the work that we are doing in our office. And I can't even remember the initial question you asked, but I'm glad you asked the question, because what I want to say is that we are doing our very best, now I remember, we are doing our very best to really convince our victims and our witnesses that they can trust us. And we're not trying to deport them. We're not trying to report them, right? We just need to make sure that they are able to participate in keeping their community safe, meaning they can report crimes, right? We don't want child abuse victims not being able to report crimes because they're scared that their family members are going to get deported. That's a problem for public safety in our community. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing. Anything that Teresa, anything that you all want to say about that, just in general? Again, Teresa is the chief of our Victim Witness Coordinator Unit, and her job really is to, how many members of your unit? How many members do you have?
We have 18 members within our unit. So our concern and what we try to do within our unit is just to make sure that they feel safe and that they know, as our state attorney has said, we're not there to report them to ICE or anyone, but we're there to make sure that we're getting justice for them. So what we do is we have to talk to them over the weekend, whatever we have to do, that's what we're there to do, to make sure we get justice for them. So when they come to our office, they come knowing that we're here for you. We're not here to turn you in, even if we have to assist you, because a lot of them now, we even have someone in our office who's, now a lot of new visas are coming in. So we're letting them know that we're taking care of what we need to do on our end to make sure that they're safe and whatever is needed, you know, after that prosecution has been taken care of.
Yeah, the federal, what's happening is making our job more difficult, for sure. And we are trying as best as we can to distinguish ourselves from federal law enforcement. You know, they're not wearing masks, right? You know, as they move around the community, right? And we don't do that because we want to be held accountable. In law enforcement, we want you to hold us accountable. We want you to know who we are. We want to be able to share identifying information with you. And so that's important to us in local law enforcement. And I don't want to speak for you all, but...
No, I appreciate that. Now, to speak specifically from the city of Bowie, because you referenced the incident that did occur here in the city. And I want to make sure that we're clear, because this is not a new thing. I know it's a new focus as it relates to the distinguishing factor between local law enforcement and federal law enforcement. Local law enforcement has never been able to enforce federal law. That still exists today. And I know, seeing some of the comments on social media, a lot of things that have been shared is just misinformation. Okay, so it's not about whether or not a police department is cooperating with federal authorities or not. All right, by law, we are not authorized to enforce federal law. We're not federal officers. All right, so here in the city of Bowie, we enforce state law, and we empowered by the local charter to provide police service to the residents here in the city of Bowie. And that's our focus as a police department. Okay, federal officers enforce federal law. All right, so if they come into the city to enforce federal law, federal officers have the authority to do so. Okay, as it relates to, you know, philosophy and things of that sort, as it relates to, I would defer to Councilwoman Rogers, you know, for any stance as it relates to the city government. But from the police department, you don't have to be concerned with our officers seeking or asking for immigration status and things of that sort, because that is not what we do.
Yeah, from the city council perspective, and Councilman Esther is in the back as well. What we have done is provided resources to the residents in City Hall where you can go to get support and legal advice and help if you ever come under a situation with ICE. Michael, did I miss anything?
The main thing is what the chief said. We're not here to enforce federal law. But I want to be clear as well. If someone has committed a crime, we want them to be arrested. So I also want to be very clear about that.
And that's true from the state's attorney's office perspective as well. We're worried about crime in Prince George's County, whoever commits that crime. And so, yeah, so good point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. While I have the mic, I do want to identify Sarita Lee, the Register of Wills. Is she still here? Can you say for Prince George's County. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back. First of all, great question, great response, thank you. My question kind of piggybacks that for the midterms. Is there, like, are you guys discussing about what, you know, some of the things I've heard on the news is that, you know, we're gonna not be able to vote or, you know, deterrence. And I'm just wondering if there's any, you know, preparations or discussions on making sure that polling booths are safe and, you know, yeah, because we do, I mean, especially in all around Prince George's County, we are a very diverse, minority-based county, and, you know, I would think it might be a hot spot. I don't know. But, you know, like, that concerns me, though.
Yeah, not my lane necessarily. We make sure in our office that we prosecute crimes that are charged. But of course, I understand your concern. I would just caution us, you know, there's so much that's out here. that is placing persons in fear, and I don't want the community to be fearful. You know what I mean? I want us to be able to move about, work, play, live without operating in fear. But to your specific question, I'm not sure. We certainly haven't been talking about in my office about protection of the polls because we would not be, that would not be our responsibility. I don't know.
I'll just speak to that, just from the city of Bowie's perspective. One of the things is that we will coordinate, directly with our city clerk to ensure that the polling locations in the city are safe. We won't want to impede anyone's right. We want to make sure that we support everyone's constitutional right to cast their vote, and we're going to make sure that the polling places within the incorporated city are safe.
Can I just jump in real quickly on that question, because I know that's a major concern. That's all right. Our municipal elections are probably not a major concern for the Trump administration right now. We tend to have off-year elections. To the point specifically about the midterms, if there were a serious issue, the two people who would spring into action would be the state's attorney, or the attorney general, for the state of Maryland, Anthony Brown, and the governor. You would see, not just in Maryland, but all across the country, a series of lawsuits filed immediately, and it would be dealt with in court. The stronger minds in the legal world who have talked about these issues, I'm happy to talk to you after the fact about some resources that are a little bit more not out just to make money scaring people, but some of the more serious minds will tell you that elections fundamentally are state-based. It's unlikely the state act is going to pass in the U.S. Senate, and that's not going to change anytime soon. But I'm happy to talk offline with anyone who has concerns about that.
Just a simple one way or the other. To the subject of this topic, is it better write-in or going to the poll?
So I don't think we're in a position to answer that question. We've gotten a little off the topic. Because we have the state's attorney here tonight, and this is an opportunity for her to answer questions that are relative to us and our community, and the accountability and transparency that is so necessary when we talk about law enforcement and public safety. So if we can kind of shift back to that for the next few minutes that we have, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Latoya from Bowie, and I'm not sure who to direct this to, but I don't know, Christmas time was kind of loud in our area. With the dirt bikes, I don't know if they got new dirt bikes for Christmas or not, but it's in spring, summer is coming, so just wanted to know if there was some sort of strategy. I know that at one time it was mitigated, and then it's like, it's becoming an issue.
So illegal off-road vehicles are a challenge throughout the region, not only here in the city of Bowie. One of the things that Lieutenant Knott oversees our investigators and our community services unit. We've been somewhat successful in identifying some of the people that occupy those vehicles. We've actually brought charges against some of them and worked with our state's attorney's office to prosecute those. We just were able to reconstitute our directed response team. And so that's a squad that's dedicated to dealing with long-standing, challenging issues that we have in the community that our patrol units don't have the time to focus on. So that'll be one of the things that they'll be focusing on. We'll continue to work with the community, to make sure that we stay abreast of the challenges that you all are seeing. But we're well aware of what's going on in Old Bowie, and we're going to make sure that we do all we can to identify those that are violating the law and hold them accountable.
And Toya, specifically on that, I know these are the kids on 6th and 8th Street, and you're right, Grandma buys them a new dirt bike every couple of years. So my advice is talk offline with Wanda and I and Chief Preston. We had some success in past years preempting some stuff. Let's just get really specific, and we can knock down those couple of streets and see what we can do this year.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good, thank you.
I think Ed in our special prosecution unit, which prosecutes
Yes,
motor
ma'am.
vehicle
Yes,
crime.
Madam State's Attorney. Yeah, oops, I'm sorry. On that point, Latoya, in general, we have had a very significant initiative on these meetups. Now, these kids are a subset of that. But we've been able, through very good intelligence and in an organized fashion, been able to prosecute groups of young men, young women, who do get together and do these, as they call them, meetups. We'll just get a group of cars, in various parts of the county. I'm not sure, Chief, we've had them in here in Bowie as well. But all these things are interconnected, and the chief has done a spectacular job with the Old Town Bowie and in other groups of identified criminals in our community. I live in Northridge, so I know precisely where you are. And the Q section, I guess as you would call it. And so I'm familiar with your issues, and we do work on them in a very organized fashion. So we are aware of that.
I'm impressed that you knew the letter, but I guess if you live here. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Forgive me. I have basically five bullet points to go over and address here to whoever it may apply to in the room with regard to everything. Sidewalk and snow removal. We have addressed this accordingly, and I will being cued to move on from that.
Yes.
Reckless driving.
Not mine, the
No,
sidewalks.
I know. I understand. But
Sidewalks,
I'm being
leave.
cued, and I got the received the message and everything. But the reckless driving, the standard driving limit in residential area in the city of Bowie is 25. And when you're hearing them going 40 to 70 in a 25, anywhere from 6 a.m. to 1 a.m., and this is happening multitude of times, it tells me that there's nothing being done about it. And it would be really nice to see somebody address the concern. I have an oversized driveway that's got plenty of room for somebody to sit there and just wait to find somebody and nail them in the act.
Can we take one at a time? Because I know before we get started. So let me just speak specifically to the traffic enforcement. So the traffic enforcement, obviously, it's a violation that has to be observed in real time by police officers being enforced. All right. Now, you all know the favorite subject we have. We have by population probably more speed cameras than any other jurisdiction in the state of Maryland, right? All right. So that's one effort that we take, but we can't put speed cameras everywhere. All right. But that is a way, that we also enforce and reduce that. We just reported out to City Council last night. Our actual citations that we issue are actually down this year, and that's evidence that shows that the behavior has been corrected in those specific areas. Is it a solution to everything? No, it's not. All right. One of the things that we're working to do, we hope as we continue to increase our staffing, is to bring back our traffic enforcement unit. And so that'll be a team of officers that are dedicated solely to traffic enforcement. And so as we're able to do that, then we're able to spend 100% of the time enforcing traffic violation. Right now, our patrol officers are tasked with a lot of things, as I mentioned before. They're covering, 20 square miles of the city, running calls for service, and our priority is first to handle those calls for service and 911 calls. In between that, they have an opportunity to deal with these self-initiated things like traffic enforcement. All right, but we know the speeding happens throughout the entirety of the city, and we do our very best to do those enforcements.
Well, I can tell you, Chief, respectfully, I know that a member of your staff has asked, would I be willing to have one of those on my property? And I told him, I'm begging him to.
But we talk about offline, it's not that simple, but we talk about it.
I know, but moving on from there.
Just so you know, we don't get involved in just normal traffic tickets. It's when there's reckless or negligent behavior, something that rises to a different level, is when the state's attorney's office becomes involved.
But how do you define reckless?
Well, they're reckless disregard for life and property.
I've had that experience.
So it depends on the speed. It depends on the speed. And, so the legislature has now said that if you're, I think it's 30 miles over the speed limit, that you can be, it's a jailable offense potentially. Right. So it just depends on the speed. It depends on the circumstances of the driving.
I can show you pictures on here where it's been reckless to my property.
I understand. I just wanted to let you know where we become involved.
I understand. But moving on from there, with regard to everything, you said something earlier in the evening about accountability. And it just fascinates me that there was always a rule, as I have known it for as long as I can remember, where at some point in time there was this implementation of kids having to provide community service in order to be able to graduate to a certain, number of hours to graduate and everything. When you have this kind of stuff going on, and I spoke about this at the council meeting last night, it intrigues me that, everybody is sitting there trying to scam you and price gouge you with regard to the prices that they're trying to charge for getting some snow removed when you are physically and, not able to do it because of your health and circumstance, and that's something that you can't control. Not everybody is a robust 25-year-old, and I can say that I'm certainly not. The last thing was the speed cameras. If you're familiar with the Next Door program, somebody sat there and said something to me on the subject of speed cameras, that I wasn't able to have a speed camera near my property because I had to be within a half a mile of the school. Well, 2 blocks away from my property is the annex for the 9th graders at Bowie High School. So I'm sitting here scratching my head. Why wouldn't, that kind of stuff be eligible?
Well, that's no longer the case. That's the former law, the law's been changed a few years ago.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so that's why I said we have an abundance of, we have over 30 authorized locations throughout the city that are authorized for residential speed cameras. So that covers not only school zones, but also residential areas where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour or less.
Okay, this is going to be quick. This is public safety related, okay? Takesha Brown, case section again. First of all, I want to commend you and your officers as it relates to your responsiveness. I have called the non-emergency number when I've seen a car, and literally I went downstairs to make the call. By the time I went upstairs, the cop was there. So I just want to say thank you and for your information that you put out there. On the Ring camera as well, when you put your notifications, looking for stuff, and you come back and go, oh, we caught the suspect, which is what you did today. So thank you for that. So my 2 concerns in terms of public safety is, I understand that you patrol the main streets like Bel Air, Cambridge, Kent Hill, but we have a lot of side streets that, really don't get that much attention because you're only going down that street if you know someone's there. But for an outsider, it's sweet in a sense. So I would definitely like to encourage or say, can you have more patrol on these side streets when you make those turns?
I'm going to tell you, like I said, y'all know I'm a straight shooter, right? So I have 16 vacancies.
Right.
70 qualified people. And I will do my very best to be able to increase the patrol, okay? All right? So as I get more people, I'll be able to patrol more streets and get down more side streets, okay?
Thank you.
But I do need the vacancies.
And the second thing real quick is the concern is, I've seen now a lot of seniors getting attacked at the grocery stores early in the morning, and I have really seen that over the years. So that is definitely a concern that I have as it relates to going grocery shopping, and there's not that many cars in a parking lot early in the morning. So that's something else that I've seen a lot.
I'm not aware of that, so I don't know where that information came from, but
it's been on the Ring, they'll put it out there on Next Door.
What you see on Ring, as the state's attorney mentioned, a lot of stuff that you see on social media is not accurate, it's not true. But the one thing, and it's a good opportunity to say is that if you have a question about crime that is occurring within your community, what I'd rather you do is contact the police department. We would share exactly what's going on in the community and give you accurate information as opposed to what you see on some of these social media apps like Nextdoor, Ring, and things of that sort. A lot of the information on there is not accurate and it's not truthful, but nevertheless, it's being shared.
And you can also reach out to your city council people as well. You reach out to us, and we will help you facilitate those responses. That's what we're here
did want to take a moment to bring up Caitlin Sullivan. She's with the City's Office of Communications to talk about their office and how you can stay informed here within City Louis.
Hi, everyone. Hello. My name is Caitlin Sullivan. I work in the City of Bowie's Communications Division up in the City Manager's office. So we cover basic communications, a lot different than what police does. We post events. We do everything in our office from social media, the Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and Nextdoor. We also do the newsletters, the monthly and weekly newsletters, upkeep the website, and we host our Alert Bowie program. So what that is, you can get text and email alerts directly to your phone. I promise we do not blow you up. Calvert County, I'm part of Calvert Counties. I get like 5 or 6 text messages from them a day. It's just very annoying. We really only send out alerts if there's an actual emergency, a crash, a road's closed, there's an active incident at the high school, something like that, or our newsletters that have all the events and upcoming things like the Citizens Police Academy. So I'll be around. There's also postcards at the table outside that you can pick up and sign up on the website.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And last but not least, I want to bring up Sergeant McMaster, who's going to talk about some of our recruitment efforts.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. All right. On February 28th, the City of Bowie is holding a one-day hiring event, all right? So we're asking anyone here who knows someone who wants to be a police officer, anyone here that wants to be a police officer, please encourage them to come to City of Bowie Police Department and try out for this job fair, or this career event. The individual will be able to do the fitness tests and interviews that same day, and it's a fast track, okay? And anyone who recommends someone, you're entitled to $1,000 if they're hired. So that's the initiative, that's the carrot. Please talk to a nephew, an uncle, an aunt, a niece, a brother, a sister. Have them come down, try out. It's a great experience. Just a little bit about myself. I've been a police officer for 21 years. I spent 5 years in New York City. This is a great place to work. I tell you, it is community oriented. It is not the politics of big time city. It is a great place. We got great benefits, great salary, and great people to work with. We are a family here, and I can't endorse it anymore. You would want your daughter or sister or brother to work here.
What about administrative?
Administrative? I do not believe we have any openings at this point. But I can give you my card, and when something comes up, I can point you in the right direction.
That's fine.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I appreciate everyone coming out this evening. I am extremely thankful for State's Attorney joining us this evening as well as has some closing comments.
I just want to say very briefly, thank you for coming out. A big thank you to my council colleague, Wanda Rogers. Don't tell the others, but she's my favorite. I just want to add one thing to the police recruitment effort, and I don't want this to sound over the top, but one of the very real fears when I talk to a lot of people who are getting into the workforce right now is the concern about technology and AI. I don't know how many of you know people who are in coding, who are in tech, who are in STEM. 5, 6 years ago, we encouraged all of our kids to go into those professions. Those jobs no longer exist. They're gone in a very short period of time. Unless you already have 10 to 20 years of experience in a lot of industries, they're just not hiring very many entry-level coders anymore. A lot of people are experiencing that. And so, not to be too scary about this, but policing, especially in a community that has a high level of trust and a good relationship between government, local law enforcement, this is one of the few places left where your kids can get a good entry-level job. Without much experience, they can come into a good family of fellow officers, get excellent training, who maintain some of the highest standards in the nation, and they can actually have a career where their benefits are taken care of, where they can get a pension, where they don't have to worry about job security.
I don't know what's going to happen in robotics in 20 years, but I can tell you that is much, much, much further away. And the here and now, in all seriousness, talk to your children. Talk to your families. Talk to the young people in your life. These are good professions. And more importantly, who do you want patrolling your streets? Thank you.
Yeah.